Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. It's, like I said, it's been an empty chambers a lot of the summer, and it's wonderful to see so many people here and so much enthusiasm. You might have wondered why I was counting down. We have our budget hearing later on this evening, and when we do, we can't start the meeting until 5:01. So, again, thank you for joining us. We will begin our meeting as we do all of our meetings. We'll start with a moment of silence, and then I'll invite you to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. But before we do, I do want to share one sad piece of news. Former board chair and District 4 board member Bert Carrier passed away just last week. Bert was so deeply engaged in our schools and supported education throughout his whole life. I knew Bert from my earliest days of walking into this building as a mom concerned about education. And he was one of the board members I would come to see. And even though he wasn't my district board member, he was always open to hearing from me, and he's just a wonderful man. So we are going to pay homage to him in a few minutes, but now, as we rise for a moment of silence, he'll be in my heart and prayers. And now for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let me begin by checking with Dr. Vasquez if we have any changes to the agenda.
Madam Chair, I'm going to defer to General Counsel for comments on changes to the agenda.
All right, thank you. Mr. Palmerini, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So just for everybody on the board is aware, but for the public's awareness, we obviously have to have 5 members present in the chamber in order to constitute a quorum. We do have a 5th member in the building who is not feeling well, but she will be well enough to come take a vote. We have to adopt the budget tonight under state law. There is a period, we can go to tomorrow, but that would be pushing it. So we need to get the budget adopted tonight. So as a consequence of that, I'm going to suggest that we take various items out of order. And what I'm going to suggest is right after this call to order and after this, we go directly to items 3.06 and 3.07, which is the adoption of the millage and the adoption of the budget. We also have policies, I think there's 5 of them, that also need to be adopted. If we do not adopt them tonight, based upon the state laws that are required for advertising and adopting policies, we would miss that window and we would have to go through the whole process again. Normally, just because I like to have a record be clear, we would do each one individually, but given the exigencies of the circumstance tonight and our board member not feeling well, we're going to take all of them up at one time. So they would come after the millage and the adoption of the budget. Subsequent to that, we would have the consent agenda. But since it's tonight and we're rearranging everything, why not add one more? Because we have one board member on 5.01 that has to declare a conflict. So we are going to move 5.01 down to non-consent 17.01 so she can declare the conflict and you all can vote. That's if we get there, depending on how the board member feels. So that is the suggested order of proceedings tonight so we can get business done. Of course, we have a bunch of people in here for recognitions tonight. Unfortunately, that's going to be after we do
We're going to
all that
move
business.
these votes along as fast as we can for everybody in the room and for our board member. So this meeting is now called to order. We have at the dais, as you can see, we have 4 board members. We have one that will be joining us momentarily, and we have one board member that is on the phone with us, I believe, participating virtually, and that's member Vice Chair Gallo. Vice Chair Gallo, are you with us? All right, wonderful.
Yes, I am, Madam Chair. Good evening.
Thank you, thank you. With the changes to the agenda as noted by Mr. Palmerini. Oh, I can't take a vote. Okay, well.
You can go ahead and take a vote.
We can take a vote on the agenda. Thank you.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended? A motion by Member Casterdental, seconded by Member Ferrant. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, we are going to jump ahead to the budget. Mr. Concolino, welcome. Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Vasquez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's that time of the year for the board to consider adoption of your tentative budget for the 2024-25 school year. Doreen Concolino, our Chief Financial Officer, will walk us through the budget, and then the board will take the appropriate action. As a reminder, the task tonight is to adopt the total millage and then the tentative budget. I turn it over to Ms. Concolino.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Chair Jacobs, school board members, Superintendent Vasquez. Before we get started, I'd like to point out that I have Judith Padres with me from the Office of Management and Budget, as well as Ernest Jean-Baptiste. Thank you. Here is our agenda for today's presentation. We will review the proposed millage, proposed budget, and ultimately you will need to adopt the total millage and then adopt the 2024-25 tentative budget. We will also establish the date for the final hearing. When we're talking about millage rates, you're talking about property taxes, and property taxes impact both residential and commercial property. Who is responsible for each component that determines your property taxes? Just value, or a property's market value, comes from the property appraiser. Save Our Homes cap is established by the legislature. The legislature also establishes exemptions, such as the homestead exemption, and they determine the millage rate, which is then adopted by the board. Here are our property tax values since 2011. These dollars help fund both the operating and capital budgets for the coming school year. Last year, we had a 12.07% increase in taxable values. This year, our taxable values increased by 4.56% based upon the certified tax roll calculated by our property appraiser. The current projection, as you can see, is fairly steady growth of around 5% per year over the next 5 years. The Office of Economic and Demographic Research, or EDR, meets again in August, and the estimated escalation will likely be adjusted. This graph will be updated for the final budget based on new estimates. The required local effort, or RLE, is a specific amount that we must levy to receive state funding. This is equalized statewide so that if our assessments go up, our state revenues go down. Discretionary millage is the maximum amount allowed by law. Because we levy the full amount, we receive $17.6 million in additional state dollars to get us up to the state average per student. The additional voted millage is the amount overwhelmingly approved by the voters in August of 2022 and will continue to provide much-needed operating funds in fiscal years 2025 through 2027. Capital projects millage is the maximum amount allowed by law to support the capital program and is now shared with charter schools. Overall, there is a rate increase of 0.043 mils, or 0.67%. This is the history of Orange County Public Schools millage rates. Required local effort, set by the state, is the red rate in the middle of each bar. You can see that the RLE has decreased by 2.209 mils since 2010. The legislature sets the millage rate school districts are required to levy. With the 2024 legislative decision to hold the RLE millage rate flat, current school tax rates remain at historical lows. The rolled back rate is a calculation that eliminates the impact of increased valuation. It is only used in the advertisement of the budget and in the millage adoption language. The required local effort is 3.99% over the rolled back rate, and the total millage is 3.29% over the rolled back rate. With Save Our Homes, residential property can only increase at 3% or CPI, Consumer Price Index from December to December, whichever is less. CPI is 4.1%, and therefore 3% is the maximum increase for applicable assessed values. With an increase of 3% in assessed value and an increase in the tax rate of 0.67%, the homeowner of a $341,900 home will pay $72 more in taxes. Commercial property is not limited to Save Our Homes. When the increase in commercial property values are combined with the 0.67% increase in the millage rate, the change in taxes paid for the owner of a piece of commercial property valued at $1 million is an increase of $206 per year, or about $17 per month. And now the proposed annual budget. As you can see, the budget process is continuous year-round. Remember, the budget is a plan for the year. We must adopt a millage and approve a total amount for the budget. How the dollars are spent is not set in stone, and it can be amended throughout the year. On slide 14, the budget summary identifies items that affect the district budget. Competitive wages are a priority for this board and vital to recruiting and retaining employees. There is an incremental increase of $14.6 million in the teacher salary increase allocation funding. Of this increase, the district will realize $13.45 million, and charter schools will receive their proportionate share equal to $1.19 million. The superintendent is currently engaged in a salary analysis for principals and assistant principals that includes a review of the FRS senior management retirement rate. Additional Safe Schools funding totaling $2.9 million will be utilized to secure SROs for all of our schools and to pursue other safety measures. Additional mental health assistance dollars totaling $1.3 million will directly support students. The opening of 3 new schools in August will impact the operating budget, and these costs are folded into the general fund. The sunset of temporary federal ESSER funding has compressed the operating budget, as prioritized positions and programs are now folded into this budget. And as a reminder, this budget includes funding for traditional schools, charter schools, and scholarships for students in private schools. With the passage of House Bill 1 last year, the increase to family empowerment scholarship enrollment is evident, along with a decline in traditional school enrollment. Charter school students and scholarship students combined are comprising a larger portion of the total budget. The budget maintains focus on the district's strategic plan. Here is a summary of the 5 major funds that make up the operating budget. Each fund has unique types of revenues and appropriations designed to accomplish specific purposes. The Capital Projects Fund does not include carryover project balances. They will be amended in September at the final hearing. Special revenue includes our food service program as well as other special revenue. The general fund is the operating budget of the school district. The primary source of funding comes from the Florida Education Finance Program, or FEFP. Per-student funding is equalized statewide. Equalization means that increased revenue from local sources does not necessarily cause an overall increase in funding. For instance, an increase in required local effort revenues is offset by a reduction in state revenues. However, the additional voter millage is not equalized, which means we keep all revenues generated to benefit the students of OCPS. This slide shows the actual FTE for past years, along with a projection for next year. Our current projection for fiscal year 2025 is 224,566 FTE, an increase of 6,491 FTE over the fourth calculation of the prior year of 218,074. This forecast incorporates all K-12 students, including charter school and scholarship students. However, it does not include VPK students. Based on projections from student enrollment, traditional schools are expected to decline by 600 FTE in 2025. Here is the breakdown of FTE by traditional, charter, and scholarship students, and highlights the steady increase in scholarship FTE as shown in the orange bars. 2018-19 is a benchmark year and only includes McKay students. The Family Empowerment Scholarship, or FES, was signed into law in May of 2019, and FES scholarship FTE was folded into district counts starting in 2019-20. Charter enrollment, as reflected in the dark blue bars, is forecasted to grow. Our traditional school enrollment, as indicated in the lighter blue bars, is estimated to decline in 2025. This chart shows a comparison of per-student funding from the second calculation since July of 2007. We use the second calculation in this comparison because that is the calculation in effect at the time of the adoption of the budget. Note that this chart is based on a point in time and is intended to demonstrate a trend using the same data point each year, and to show the public that we are still trailing behind in buying power since 2007. For the upcoming year, there is a $320 increase in FEFP per student funding over the prior year second calculation. In 2008, state funding declined dramatically until the FEFP funding reached its lowest point in 2011. The Consumer Price Index, or CPI, is represented in the line above the funding bars, which signifies the inflationary impact year over year and demonstrates that funding has not returned to the 2007 pre-recession levels. As stated previously, we illustrate an annual CPI from December to December, and as shown, inflation had been moderate with an average CPI increase of about 2% per year since 2007. Until July of 2022, when inflation rose to 8% and is now currently hovering at 4.1%. When comparing the second calculation of the prior year and including the special millage shown in dark blue, the total per student increase is $385, or 4% over the prior year. Even with the special millage, the district still has a reduction in purchasing power of about $1,223 per student over July 2007 amount when adjusted for inflation. Thank you again to the voters of Orange County for supporting the special millage, which helps tremendously to sustain the programs in our schools. Here is a graph of the state general revenue in support of education. The total state general revenue budget increased $306 million, or 0.7%, which includes an increase in funding for education of $2 billion, or 9.85%. As seen in this chart, for fiscal year 2025, the percentage of general revenue going to education increased from 43.9% to 47.9%. The percentage remains well below the pre-lottery amount of over 60%, as well as below the funding level during the Great Recession. This graph shows the percentage of general revenue going to support K-12 schools over the past 11 years. You can see that the percentage of state general revenue supporting public schools has increased this year. Public schools, which includes traditional schools, charter schools, and family empowerment scholarships for private schools, received the largest portion of the education general revenue budget at 70.4%, and includes an increase in funding of $1.5 billion, or 11.1%. Keep in mind that this increase in public school funding is directly related to the increase in family empowerment scholarships. This graph represents the total state appropriations, operating and fixed capital outlay, as a percentage of the total over the last 4 years. The first grouping, education, includes early learning, public schools, community colleges, and universities. As you can see, the percentage of the state budget assigned to education increased from 25.9% of the budget to 30.4% of the budget. This graph includes all funds. For 2025, the total state budget comprised of all funds actually decreased by $21.3 billion, or 18.2%. Even still, education and human services constitute the largest portion of the reduced state budget. The legislature prioritized an investment in criminal justice and corrections for the maintenance and repair of correctional facilities. As requested by the board, this new chart represents just the education general revenue appropriations as a percentage of the total over the last 4 years. Here, Family Empowerment Scholarship, or FES funding, has been carved out from public schools funding. The data compares the first calculation to the first calculation in years 2024 and 2025, and compares the second calculation in years 2022 and 2023. In years 2022 and 2023, FES funding was not identified in the conference report, and therefore second calc data was utilized. To be clear, the second calc typically adjusts state funding to align with an adjustment in property valuation. However, there is no impact on FES funding. Public schools funding for the purpose of this graph only includes traditional schools and charter schools and reflects the decline from 68.2% in 2022 to 57.2% in 2025. Family Empowerment Scholarship funding for private school scholarships is steadily increasing from 2.4% of education general revenue in 2022 to 12.9% in 2025. Legislative efforts have contributed to the increase in FES funding, as well as enrollment shifts away from traditional schools. In the early years of the Florida lottery, 60 to 70% of lottery dollars coming to education were for public schools, as seen in the green bars. That number is now only 30%. Of the 30% coming to public schools, none of these dollars would be considered educational enhancement. 81% supports the regular FEFP funding, and 19% is for the district's post-secondary program. The school recognition program, which could be considered educational enhancement, is not funded through the lottery in 2025. Again, this year, the program is funded using general revenue, non-FEFP funds. The orange or rust-colored bars at the top, which represent 30% of lottery funds, is primarily funding the Bright Futures Scholarship Program. Here is a breakdown of our estimated revenues by source. There is very little change in these percentages. The small federal slice represents what we receive in Medicaid reimbursement and ROTC funding. Recognizing that employee compensation is the board's #1 priority, and given limited funding coupled with the district's existing financial obligations, it became necessary to implement budgetary adjustments to afford additional compensation within the constrained budget. The 2025 budget includes folding in the recurring cost of the advanced 3% of the 2024 salary increase initially funded using reserve dollars, as well as funding an additional 2% increase to payroll for all employees, or the equivalent of 2.25% for highly effective teachers. The board has also prioritized safe schools, and these funds are utilized to secure SROs for all of our schools and pursue other initiatives and strategies to ensure the safety of our students and staff. Mental health assistance remains a board priority, and these dollars will be used for direct mental health services and resources for students. Finally, board members also identified literacy training and the science of reading as a priority, and although this expense is not included in the operating budget, Title II funds have been identified to support this initiative. I'd like to pause for a moment to further clarify the confusion surrounding the fronted 3% salary cost that necessitates accounting for the cost in the 2025 budget. In fiscal year 2024, the district proposed a 2-year 9% salary offer that included a 6% salary increase in year 2024 and a 3% salary increase in fiscal year 2025. The district budget could not absorb a total recurring cost of 9% salary increase in 1 year. The CTA would not agree to the 2-year offer. The district then offered a 6% salary increase in 2024 with a proposal to advance an additional 3% salary increase by using fund balance reserves, allowing for a 9% increase in 2024. The district communicated with our unions that any salary costs that were advanced using non-recurring reserve funds would be paid with new recurring FEFP funding in 2025. The district anticipated a 3% increase in the state's recurring FEFP revenue in 2025, and therefore was willing to use fund balance reserves in 2024. The option made the 9% salary increase in 2024 possible. The budget presented to the board tonight folds in the advanced 3% share of the 2024 salary increase, which is now a recurring cost utilizing 2025 funding. A final note that if the district had not realized at least a 3% increase in recurring revenue in 2025, there would have been further reductions in spending equivalent to the cost of the advanced 3% salary increase. Slide 31 includes other budget items to consider. For fiscal year 2025, although changes to employer-paid FRS rates are negligible in comparison to previous years, the cost to the district is approximately $758,000 to all funds. The fiscal year 2025 budget reflects an increase in recurring board contributions of $26 million for employee health care benefits, As part of the 2024 compensation package, the district and our unions agreed to a one-year premium discount in fiscal year 2025 to lessen the impact of increased health care premium costs to our employees at an estimated cost of $7.4 million. Retention supplements help to offset compression that creates inequity for our experienced, skilled, and veteran employees. This budget includes $45 million from general fund reserves to cover the cost of these supplements. As noted in an earlier slide, this budget includes funding for traditional schools, charter schools, and scholarships for students in private schools. For fiscal year 2025, OCPS is estimated to have 22,251 scholarships going to private schools totaling $152.9 million, which will reduce the district's final state revenue appropriation. Teacher classroom supply assistance funds have been rolled into the base student allocation, yet there is still a requirement for districts to allocate dollars for the program. For fiscal year 25, districts are required to allocate a minimum of $300 per eligible classroom teacher to fund this program. The estimated cost to OCPS is approximately $3.6 million. Also on this slide is reference to pending litigation between Walt Disney World and the Orange County property appraiser that will potentially affect revenues tied to the district's property valuation. Current projections estimate an impact ranging from $6.5 million to $13 million per year. However, final numbers will not be determined until the case is concluded and property valuation is adjusted accordingly. In the meantime, we continue to set aside dollars to address any corresponding refunds. As a reminder, the Florida Education Finance Program, or FEFP, is equalized, meaning any reduction to local dollars is offset by an increase in state funding. This equalization does not apply to the additional voted millage or to capital dollars. Functional appropriations remain fairly constant, with 75% of all appropriations in the instruction and instructional support functions. The district continues to have the lowest administrative cost per student among large urban districts in the state and the sixth lowest expenditure level of all 67 school districts. This concludes the general fund portion of our program, and now Judith Padres will present the capital projects.
Now the Capital Projects Fund. The total capital budget is $1.9 billion. The budget is primarily funded with sales surtax, property tax, and impact fees. It includes minimal state support and is mostly funding for comprehensive renovations, district-wide capital projects, and debt service and transfers. This shows a tentative 5-year forecast of capital revenues. The light blue line represents the state appropriation for capital outlay and debt service, projected at $8.3 million. These dollars are earmarked for safety purposes. The burgundy line shows the funding the state provides for charter capital. These are pass-through dollars, and for fiscal year 25, we're anticipating that charter schools will receive $10.6 million. As represented in this graph, there is no guarantee that the state will continue to fund this appropriation into the future. The gold bar represents the district sales tax revenue projections based on current collection trends and incorporating the Office of Economic and Demographic Research forecasts. $383.5 million is estimated to be collected this fiscal year. As noted, this graph aligns with the scheduled conclusion of the sales tax program in December of 2025. This November, the voters of Orange County will have the opportunity to decide on the extension of the sales tax program through 2035. With their approval, the district could generate approximately $3.5 billion over this 10-year period. These funds will be instrumental in addressing the district's construction, renovation, and replacement needs, including updates to 75 schools that were built or improved since the inception of the sales tax program and will need to be renovated by 2035. The funds will also address safety and security enhancements alongside the implementation of technology updates. The dark blue bar shows the projections for impact fees. For fiscal year 25, an estimated $75.3 million is forecasted. This projection is based on a 3-year average revenue collection and will be revised once fiscal year 24 is closed. The orange bar represents the revenues for the 1.5 capital mill funding source and is based on the district's property valuation. For fiscal year 25, the district is anticipating to collect $341.8 million, of which approximately $5.3 million will be shared with charter schools. This graph illustrates the recommended capital projects use of funds for fiscal year 25. Carry forward funds have not been incorporated into the budget. The largest portion of our budget is used for comprehensive needs at 50.12%. This is to cover the schools in the sales tax list, the pre-2003 schools, and schools that are being repurposed. This is followed by district-wide capital at 24.32%, which includes appropriations for district-wide construction projects, capacity enhancement, ancillary projects, capital renewal, site improvements, and major painting projects. The third largest recommended use of funding is debt service and transfers at 14.51%. These are appropriations needed to cover our debt service obligation, the sales tax transfer to the capital renewal fund, and a transfer for maintenance and transportation purposes. The recommended capital plan reflects the following. Board members identify security enhancements as one of their main priorities. This recommended plan continues the funding of security enhancement projects at several schools. There is funding for 12 relief schools, 9 elementary schools, 1 middle school, and 2 high schools. The opening year is based upon the priorities received from both the Advanced Planning Committee, or AP, and reviewed by the Capital Program Steering Committee. The AP Committee recommended the opening of 18 new schools for the period of August of 2024 to 2033. Of these 18 schools, the current funding sources can only cover the cost of 12 schools. Therefore, there is a shortfall in funding for 6 relief schools that, although recommended by AP, are not feasible within the constraints of the current budget. The extension of the sales tax is essential to secure the necessary funds to cover the cost of these 6 schools. Capacity enhancement. The recommended budget includes funding for projects that are primarily intended to add permanent instructional space and reduce some portable instructional spaces. It also allocates funding to a list of pre-2003 sales tax schools. These schools are earmarked for projects based on the needs as identified in the district's condition assessment. Funding is also included for repurposing projects at Orlando Gifted and STEAM Academy, and capital renewal. In accordance with the referendum, a portion of the sales tax revenues are transferred to the capital renewal fund to cover major system replacement needs. This plan continues to fund that transfer. These are the recommended 5-year new school openings. There is 1 new elementary, 1 middle, and 1 high school opening this August. In August of 2025, the recommendation includes the opening of 2 elementary schools. In August of 2026, this proposed plan includes the opening of 1 new elementary school. Comprehensive projects that are in construction. In this slide, we show all the schools that have a comprehensive project that is moving into the construction phase this fiscal year. Avalon, Camelot, Chain of Lakes, Citrus, Colonial, Endeavor, STEAM Academy, Lone Childs, Oakshire, Ocoee Middle School, and Palmetto are all entering the construction phase in fiscal year 25. All of the schools, with the exception of STEAM Academy, are part of the pre-2003 sales tax list. As you know, we have other projects that are on their 2nd year of construction, but are not shown on the slide. Comprehensive projects in design. Boone, Cherokee School, Jones, Odyssey, Olympia, Orlando Gifted Academy, and Timber Creek High School are entering the design phase in fiscal year 25. All except Orlando Gifted Academy and Cherokee School are part of the pre-2003 sales tax list. The tentative CIP, or Capital Improvement Plan, also includes funding for the following: the continuation of district security enhancements and life safety projects, school bus and equipment replacement, funding for portable moves and leasing, which is included to help manage population fluctuations, charter school funding, which includes the funds that the state appropriates for charter maintenance dollars, plus their share of the 1.5 capital mill as required by House Bill 1259. And there are also dollars included in the plan for ancillary projects as well as for technology infrastructure and equipment upgrades. This concludes the capital portion of our budget presentation.
Debt Service Fund. This fund is used to retire the indebtedness the school district has incurred for construction projects. The primary source of funds is a transfer from the Capital Projects Fund. As the board may recall, the district completed a cash optimization transaction during fiscal year 2024 when we retired one debt issuance and issued another. This combination of transactions will save the capital program over $18 million. The Special Revenue Fund. The Special Revenue Fund includes the district's food service program and special revenue other funds, which are primarily school internal accounts and extended day programs. Other federal grants, such as Title I and IDEA, are amended into the budget as approved. The food service program is supported primarily by federal reimbursement, USDA commodities, and also from fees charged for adult meals served. For the 2025 school year, all meals at current schools will be provided to OCPS students at no charge, regardless of income level. This initiative is made possible through the Community Eligibility Provision, or CEP. CEP is an option for school districts operating child nutrition programs and is administered by the United States Department of Agriculture. The provision ensures all students have access to nutritious meals at no cost, removing the stigma associated with receiving free or reduced price meals. The 3 new schools opening in August cannot yet participate in the CEP program. However, we've derived a strategy with FNS to offer meals at no cost at these 3 schools. Special Revenue Other are funds restricted or committed for specific purposes. School internal accounts are used to account for monies collected and dispersed by each school through fund transfers and other student-related extracurricular and co-curricular activities. Extended day accounts are used to account for all monies collected and dispersed in support of the program. The extended days before and after school activity provides a safe and supportive environment for children. The main source of revenue is user fees. The Internal Services Fund. The Internal Services Fund accounts for the district's Employee Benefit Trust Fund, Property Casualty Loss Fund, and Printing Services Fund. The Employee Benefit Trust Fund revenue comes from board contributions for employee coverage and deductions for employee and dependent coverage. The expenditures for this fund include payments for medical claims, prescriptions, and mental health. Board contributions for employee-only coverage are increasing from $9,289 to $10,555 at a cost of $26 million to the operating budget. As noted earlier, employees will realize a 1-year premium discount in fiscal year 2025 to lessen the impact of increased health care premium costs. The district offers 4 plan options. The SureFit plan offers a no-cost option for employee-only coverage. People One Health is a new healthcare option for employees enrolled in OCPS medical plans and eligible family members. Enrollment in People One Health provides access to high-quality primary care with 0 out-of-pocket expenses for employees and eligible family members. The Property Casualty Loss Fund includes payments for property, liability, and workers' compensation claims. Revenue from this fund are from charges to other funds. And the Printing Services Fund is self-supporting and receives revenue from charges for services to schools and departments. And now our remaining actions. I will turn it back over to the superintendent for comments and discussion. Once discussion is complete, the total millage must be adopted, and subsequently, the 2024-2025 tentative budget must be adopted and establishment of the date of the final hearing.
I want to thank Ms. Concolino and Ms. Padres for all of the work regarding our budget. It's a very tedious process, but you've managed to once again make it to where most of us can clearly understand the fiscal picture. For members of the public who may not be aware, we work on our budget from January until this time, and the board has had several work sessions and discussions. I know that we have also had one-on-one meetings, and I would also like to thank the board for their diligence and attention to a very tedious task of having the budget presentation and making sure that we meet your priorities for our district. As mentioned by Ms. Concolino, our budget remains fluid throughout the year as we make necessary amendments as we find the need. Members of the board, as required by statute, I present to you a balanced budget for the 24-25 school year. We request your approval both of the total millage and of your tentative budget. We are ready to answer any questions from you and hear your comments.
First, thank you very much, and thank you for that very comprehensive and very informative presentation. Let me check with Mr. Palmerini. Do we have any speakers in the audience?
No, Madam Chair, we do not.
All right, thank you. Do we have any board members with questions or comments before we take action? Member Castrodano?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for that quick presentation, but you did it so well. I appreciate it, and I thank you for all the work you put into it, and also trying to make it really understandable to us and to the public. I do have some questions just for clarity. When we're looking at the overall budget from the state and we see an increase in education dollars, can you explain the impact that the Family Empowerment Scholarship or the vouchers in the charter schools has, like when we're looking at the overall budget?
So when we're looking at the overall budget, the total increase for the second calculation for the district is about $118 million. Of that, traditional schools is only receiving $54.8 million of that. Portion goes to charter and the balance to scholarships.
Okay, so the increase is misleading for those who are used to seeing that as just the public school dollars.
Correct.
Those were not previously rolled into all of our budget.
Correct. Not since, I think, 2019, 2020 was the first year that FES was rolled into district budgets.
Okay, thank you. Another question. I think in there you pointed out that the private school vouchers accounted for $152 million?
152, yes.
And
ma'am.
that's from FTEs, individual students?
Yes, FEFP dollars. In the FEFP, there's $152.1 million in the budget for Family Empowerment Scholarship in our district budget.
In Orange County. And then they also receive another $43 million outside of that for state funding?
Yes, so scholarships receive a state discretionary supplement. If you recall on the millage slide, districts are able to or are required to tax the .748 discretionary millage. Private schools do not have any taxing authority, so therefore the state, outside of the FEFP, provides additional dollars for scholarships, this year totaling $616 million. For Orange County Public Schools, that's equivalent to $43 million. Again, that is not rolled into the FEFP, but it is state funds that go specifically to scholarships.
Okay. So that's $152 million for students, and
Through
then
the
an
FEFP,
additional
yes,
through
ma'am.
FEFP, and then an additional $43 million. So that's $195 million just for Orange County
Scholarship
scholarship
students.
for private school. We're subsidizing private schools with our public dollars. So when we say that last year we had a declining enrollment of about 3,000 students
Yes, ma'am. That's traditional schools.
in our traditional schools, those are likely ones who were here and then went to private school
Most likely, private school or homeschool, yes.
or homeschool. And so when that happens and we have a declining enrollment, how does that affect our costs and overhead?
Well, our student-teacher ratios are dependent on our FTE. But funding as a whole, when we realized this decline, somewhere's actually between, after the second survey, which is in October, and we get the results in January, At that point, we are committed as a district to salaries, programs, expenses, and therefore, we had less funding equivalent to those 3,000 students. However, we still had the expenses that went with what we were originally estimating.
Right, okay. And then also our costs are fixed. So even when we lose students, we still have same energy costs, the lights in every classroom, air conditioning.
Absolutely.
All of those costs are still there. We just have fewer dollars, fewer tax dollars that we're able to cover. So that affects our ability to meet the needs of transportation, salaries, and other areas. And I just want to make sure that everyone is aware of the impact of this diversion of our tax dollars to private schools and the effect it has. It's not just that the money needs to follow the student. When you see what it actually does, how it really puts a stress and strain on our whole district, I think people need to know that impact. So we're looking at maybe a projected loss again of about 600 students this year. We won't know until after that second calculation.
Correct.
But by
Second
then,
survey, yes.
our rates and our costs are already fixed. So it is a complicated budgeting, and then having this uncertainty does put stress on our ability to educate all of our students. So but one more question, unrelated. You mentioned that there's a Disney set-aside. Can you explain a little bit more about what this Disney set-aside is and why we're setting it aside?
So it originated in 2015, I believe. Disney is in litigation with the Orange County property appraiser regarding the assessment methodology for their properties. And they are requesting of the property appraiser a reduction of about 50% in their assessed value. Now, the property appraiser is looking at more of a 25% reduction. There will be or likely, the result will be a reduction. That being said, the tax collector informed us a number of years ago of what that fiscal impact could be to us, and that is anywhere from $7 to $14 million per year. So we began setting aside dollars to be able to repay the tax collector for the dollars that they will then have to give back to Disney based on their new assessed valuation. Currently, we have $80 or $81 million set aside in our fund balance for that.
Okay, so that I understand, Disney as a company pays taxes, the property taxes?
And Orange County Public Schools receives
We receive
the
those
largest
taxes.
portion of the taxes that they pay.
Right,
Correct.
we appreciate them for all of that contribution. But they're challenging, saying that they don't owe as much as we have received or will be receiving.
And it's not just us. We are the biggest recipient of their taxes, but anyone that receives, is in receipt of Disney taxes would be, Disney property taxes.
Right.
Would be impacted by this.
Okay, so since it really impacts us greatly, we are, instead of waiting for the lawsuit to be settled or decided, we are planning for an eventual paying back of those, if they are to be successful in their lawsuit.
Correct.
Then we would pay them back what we've already gotten,
We will pay the tax collector.
tax collector.
And then the tax collector will request the dollars back from us because there's a certain amount, there's a very limited amount of time for that repayment. And as the litigation is progressing, the dollars are getting larger and larger. And it's not a dollar amount that you could just come up with within 30 days or 60 days or whatever the restricted amount of time is for the repayment.
Okay, thank you. I just was going to make sure that I understood why we're holding on to that amount of money, and it looks like we have more than we do.
In our
We're
general fund balance,
Yes. So that's not really there. We're waiting. So thank you for that clarification. Thank you.
Member Ferrant.
I just wanted to say thank you for giving all the awesome information to our amazing audience who had to sit through that. And I'm sure, like many of us when we first got on the board, all the acronyms, FTE and the FESP and the whatever. I always say I'm wrong. They're very confusing. And if you were confused, don't worry. We all were too. And at one point. But I just wanted to say that I'm extremely thankful that we are using part of our budget to help fund the science of reading. And I think when we're focused back on something so, it seems so basic as reading, but ensuring that our kids are reading and on grade level, I think when we look at, I know there's a lot of, heated discussions always about state funding, the different schools and private schools and whatnot, when really we want to make sure that every child, we're leading every student to success. And so whether that's here, and obviously all of us would love for every student in Orange County to be at one of our public schools, I think that focusing on the science of reading and really making sure that kids are getting the basic core education is enticing to parents, and they see that. And so I know it's easy to look at the state and think that they're just funding private schools, but really it's what is the focus. The focus is making sure that every child grows up to be a well-educated and an awesome member of our society, and however that needs to be funded is fine by me. But I just wanted to say that thank you for all your hard work. I know that the summer is busy time for all of you, and so thank you for that, and I appreciate it. So that's it.
Mr. Palmerini, I see you wanted to be recognized.
Yes, Madam Chair. Member Gallo or Vice Chair Gallo would like to speak. So,
All right, thank you. Vice Chair Gallo, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have one question regarding the dollars that we're holding aside for Disney. Doreen mentioned the stabilization. So when would we get that money from the state to stabilize the dollars that we're going to have to give back to the tax collector for the Disney tax?
So the FEFP is equalized. I believe that's what Board Member Vice Chair Gallo is referring to. So the dollars that we are setting aside are for previous years. At the time of the settlement of the litigation and moving forward, if our local revenue is reduced because of the property valuation in Orange County, then the state funding will offset that because that's equalized. They will not make up for 10 years worth of back collections.
Do you have anything else?
Thank you so much for that clarification. No, that clarifies my question. Thank you so much. And thank you for all the work that your team has done with the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. And if I could just, Chair, add one more point to that. The capital 1.5 mil and the additional voted millage, the 1 mil, are not subject to the equalization.
All right, thank you. Yes, thank you. All right, we're going to move on with a motion. For the benefit of the audience, I know it's probably been a little bit of a complicated conversation. I think it's clear, but I do want to make sure that everybody understands that Disney is not suing us, and we're not suing Disney, and we just happen to be one of the entities that benefits from their
Property
tax
tax
contribution.
dollars, yes.
And that's why we're having this discussion. So no ill will between us and Disney. You want to go to Disney, have a good time with your family, because some of that tax dollars will come back to us. So there you go. How much exactly, we don't know, but it'll still help. Okay, let me call on Member Byrd to read the resolution for the millage.
Okay. Whereas Section 200.065 Florida statutes requires the school board adopt a proposed millage for funding the tentative budget and notify the property appraiser of its action. And whereas the 2024-25 tentative budget is based upon a total millage of 6.464 mils, which is more than the rolled back rate by 3.29%, as computed pursuant to Section 200.065 Florida statutes. Now therefore be it resolved by the School Board of Orange County, Florida, that the board does hereby adopt the following proposed millage to support the tentative budget for the 24-25 fiscal year. Required local effort, 3.216. Basic discretionary, 0.748. Additional voted, 1.000. Capital improvement, 1.500, for a total of 6.464. Be it further resolved that the superintendent immediately inform the Orange County property appraiser of the action of the school board in the manner prescribed by law.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion?
I move to adopt the budget.
Motion by Member Castrodeno. Second by Member Gould. All in favor, please say
Aye.
I'm sorry, Mr. Palmerini?
The motion was to adopt the budget. It's to adopt the millage.
I
I'm
move to
sorry.
adopt the millage.
Good catch. Thank you. Just a wee bit premature. Seconder, agree with that correction. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Aye.
I'm sorry, Vice Chair?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries with all members present and Vice Chair voting in the affirmative. And now for the adoption of the tentative budget, if I will again call on Member Byrd to read the resolution.
Okay. Number 1, approve the tentative budget for the general fund, $2,790,882,239. Number 2, approve the 2024 tentative budget for the special revenue fund, $326,919,793. Number 3, approve the 2024 tentative budget for the debt service fund, $242,470,460. Number 4, approve the 2024 tentative budget for the capital projects fund, $1,939,807,397. Number 5, approve the 2024 tentative budget for the internal service fund, $413,140,500. Number 6, approve the date for the final public hearing for the 2024 fiscal year 2024-25 budget for 5:01 p.m. on September 10th, 2024 at the Ronald Blocker Educational Leadership Center, 445 West Amelia Street, Orlando, Florida.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion?
Excuse me, Chair Jacobs, if
I'm
I
sorry.
might just interrupt for 1 second. I just want to clarify that it's for the 2024-25 budgets, all of those as read.
All right. Thank you for that clarification. Do we have a motion? Motion by Member Farran.
All motion. Yep.
I'll second.
Second by Member Byrd. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Vice Chair?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes with all members present and vice chair voting in the affirmative. All right, we will move on very quickly to the consent agenda. I don't believe we have any public comments. No? Oh, I'm sorry. Policies. Go ahead. Well, we could take policies or consent, but go ahead. We have, I believe, a total of 5 policies. We have policy 3.01, revised board policy to add safe schools. We have, I'm going to open all of these policies at one time, all of these public hearings. Also, public hearing 3.02 on revised board policy IA, student progressive plan. Policy, again, public hearing 3.03 on revised board policy JB, equal education opportunities. Public hearing 3.04 on revised board policy JCA, assignment of students to school. Policy, keep doing that. Public hearing 3.05 on revised board policy JFBD, magnet school programs. Public hearing 3.06. Oh, we've already done that one. Okay, all public hearings have been opened. Dr. Vasquez?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And for the sake of time, I'm going to consolidate the reading of the information. There was a work session on June 18th of this year for policy ADD Safe Schools and the student progression plan. There was a work session on the policy JB, equal education opportunities, assignment of student schools and magnet school programs on the 11th of June. Notification to the CTA and OSPA was done for all 5 policies on the 26th of June. We published the information on and advertised on June 30th for all of the policies. Rule development for all of the policies took place on the 16th of July, and we are seeking school board approval at today's board meeting, July 30th.
All right, thank you. I will entertain a motion for 3.01, 3.02, 3.03, 3.04, and 3.05. If anyone is willing to offer a motion for all, and if not, we'll take them one at a time. Motion by Member Gould. Is there a second? Second by Member Castor-Dental. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Member Vice Chair?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries with all members present and Vice Chair virtually voting in the affirmative. Can we take up the consent agenda at this time? All right. We have no speakers. We have pulled one item that is now 1701. With that being pulled, is there a motion for the remainder of the consent agenda? Motion by everybody. Member by, here. Member Ferrant, seconded by Member Byrd. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Vice Chair?
Aye.
And the motion carries with all members present and Vice Chair virtually voting in the affirmative. Do you want to take up 1701 at this time? All right, this is the last thing we need to vote on. We have 1701, and one of our board members needs to announce a conflict and abstain. Is that correct?
That is correct, Madam Chair.
I don't know who that is.
That is the Vice Chair, Member Gallo.
Okay, Member Gallo?
Hi, Madam Chair. Yes, on the agenda this evening is the approval of the hiring of my daughter as a teacher under Florida Statute 1112.3143. I must abstain from voting on any measure which would inure to the special private gain or loss of my relative. I will file Florida Form 8B with the clerk of school board within 15 days after the vote.
Thank you. I don't want to belabor the point, but I have to acknowledge for just a moment that Vice Chair, as you can probably tell in the audience, is definitely under the weather. She has called in and been part of this meeting, and she's abstaining from voting, which she could have just skipped the whole meeting and wouldn't have had to do this because she's abstaining. So I just want to, she is so committed. Incredible person, I think we would all agree, to serve alongside. So hope you feel better. God bless your
Thank
dedication.
you.
Okay, do we have a motion on 1701? There we go. All right. Motion by Member Castro-Dental. Do we have a second? I'll second it. Second by Member Byrd. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And of course, Vice Chair, I'm not going to ask you. Okay, with that, Mr. Palmerini, since we are, I'm sorry, Member Gould, please.
Thank you for accommodating me tonight. We seem to have a little rash of under the weather on the board, but I appreciate everybody's loving care this afternoon. And thank you again for moving the agenda. And I hope all of you who had to sit through that learned something at least while you were here. But thank you. I am going to move to go home.
Okay, well, you do that. And as you're walking out, let me also say thank you. If Member Gould had not agreed to stay, we haven't posted a meeting for tomorrow. I don't know where we would be. We would probably just have to stay here all night long to keep the meeting open so that we could have it when we had a quorum. So thank you. I know you're not feeling well. I do hope you're better. And again, I mean, talk about commitment. Commitment, yeah. Yeah. Huh? Yeah, but you're the only one sitting here in the chamber, so you get extra credit. Thank you. I do hope you feel better, and we really, really appreciate it. Above and beyond the call of duty. Okay. Dr. Vasquez.
All right, we have come to the point in the meeting where I think the majority of the attendees have been waiting for. We are going to recognize our newly appointed administrators. And so I'd like to begin with Danielle Coates, who will be the new assistant principal at Millennia Gardens Elementary.
Good afternoon, and thank you to the school board, the school board member Felder, Dr. Vasquez, Dr. Armbruster, Dr. Jones, Mr. Rob McClough, my principal leader, and Dr. Kreil, my principal. I am so excited to continue to work with such an amazing team at Millennia Gardens. I started out as their instructional coach. I now transitioned into their assistant principal. Additionally, I want to thank those that I looked up to on my leadership journey. Ms. Michelle Carolero, principal leader, for believing in my abilities. Dr. Martha Chang, because once a lion, always a lion. Dr. Julie Helton, whose leadership style I'd love to replicate one day. My loved ones, my mom, and the staff at Millennia Gardens Elementary School.
Suhaili Dolan is going to be the principal at Endeavor Elementary.
Thank you. Thank you, members of the school board, Dr. Vasquez, Dr. Armbruster, Dr. Jones, and Dr. Leftascus for this amazing opportunity. I'm extremely excited to join the Endeavor Navigator family, and I look forward to the wonderful work we will accomplish together. I would also like to thank my parents for instilling in me a love of education through which all things are possible. To my family and friends who are here and watching afar, thank you for your constant love and support. A mi familia y amigos que están aquí y desde lejos, gracias por su constante amor y apoyo. Most importantly, to my wonderful husband and daughters, thank you for your unwavering support throughout this wonderful journey we call life. I could not do this without you. Thank you again so much. Thank you.
Courtney Tierra Codner is going to be the new assistant principal at Piedmont Lakes Middle School.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to thank God for this amazing opportunity. Next, thank you, school board members, Superintendent Vasquez, Dr. Armbruster, and staff for this opportunity to serve at Piedmont Lakes Middle School. I would like to thank my family, especially my amazing parents, Thomas and Carolyn Hubbard, my loving husband, Mr. Davion Cotner, and our 5 children for your unwavering support and unconditional love. Thank you to my Meadowbrook family. From being a student to a leader on that campus, you all have instilled so much in me. I will truly miss the family that we've created over the past 13 years. Special thanks to Dr. David D.J. Hardrick, Principal John Miller, Dr. Brown Cannon, Dr. Bond, Dr. Wyndham, Dr. Flores, and my awesome and amazing friend and SEO coach, Dr. Shakiba Shields, who's watching, for always having my back and believing in me. Now, I want to thank my Piedmont principal, Principal James Montgomery, Dr. Trimble, and Dr. Fritzler for entrusting me to lead the students, faculty, staff, and community at my new school, Piedmont Lakes Middle. I will humbly serve you all with pride and excellence. Piedmont proud. Thank you.
Moraima Espinosa is going to be the new assistant principal at Sunridge Elementary.
I want to thank God first for leading my path to this place. Thank you so much to the school board, Dr. Vasquez, school chair, board chair, Jacobs, and Dr. Ann Brewster. I want to thank my former principal at Apopka Elementary, Tony Duke, for all the knowledge that she shared with me. And my new principal, Dr. Greer, thank you so much at Sunridge Elementary. I'm looking forward to working with you. Thank you so much to Trevor Honahan, principal leader at Cadre One, for the opportunity. Dr. Jones, our executive leader, for the opportunity as well. And I promise you that I'll do my best to help with to bring our students to their potential.
Chelsea Terrell Johnson is going to be the new assistant principal at Dr. Phillips High School.
Thank you. Hi. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, school board members, Superintendent Vasquez, and all of the staff here at Orange County Public Schools for this opportunity to become one of the assistant principals at Dr. Phillips High School. I want to say a special thank you to Mr. Martinez, Dr. Dispenza, and the high school office for all of their belief in supporting me, but I cannot pass up the opportunity to say thank you to Dr. Bridget Williams, who was the first principal who gave me my first leadership role in a school. But there are also other leaders here who also believed in me, especially Dr. Williams, because I begged her to go back into class. I love what I was doing. And she said no. But Dr. Brown Cannon is here. I also want to say thank you to Mrs. Lee Wins, Dr. McGee, who's always been very instrumental, Mr. Fontaine. They have some extraordinary leadership capacity, and I want to implement that. But I cannot go past tonight without saying thank you to my family. My dad, who is a natural-born leader, always full of wisdom, always giving our family advice. My sister, who is my sounding board with all of my crazy ideas. She always grounds me and brings me back to earth. My children, who are 1,000%, my cheerleaders and supporters, even my niece and nephew are here, who are always saying, "Congratulations, Auntie," for every time I try something new. So, but I'm going to say that I want to dedicate this position and any other future leadership roles to my mom, who always wanted to be an educator, but she never got a chance to. So as I make her smile from heaven, I promise the Panthers at Dr. Phillips High School, Ms. Ramsey, who is here, our other assistant principals, the community, the family, that I will do my absolute best because her standard was above everybody else's. Thank you.
Chartrell Kelly is the new assistant principal at Oak Hill Elementary.
Good evening, everyone. It is with a grateful and reverent heart that I would like to express my gratitude to our board chair, Jacobs, our esteemed board, Superintendent Vasquez, Dr. Ann Brewster, my principal, Ms. Connolly, and Ms. Hankerson, for the opportunity to serve the families of Orange County. I am so proud to be an Oak Hill Eagle. And to my own children, Dwayne and Brittany, thank you. To my baby cousin here, Maika, thank you so much. And to my friends, Yaisha and Tiffany, my prior leaders, Desiree Holton, Victoria Singh, and Sandy Owens, I want to thank you for your guidance and support. You have fostered my journey. And I say to all of you, my prior leaders, my family, my friends, I love you and thank you so much.
Mark Anthony Lemon is going to be the new assistant principal at Lovell Elementary.
Good evening, distinguished colleagues and guests. I'd like to start by thanking the esteemed school board, Dr. Vasquez, Dr. Armbruster, Executive Leader of Elementary Schools, Dr. Jones, Principal Leader Carolero, and Principal Sarasti for giving me this amazing opportunity to grow professionally and positively impact the lives of students. My appointment as the Assistant Principal of Lovell Elementary is truly an honor and the fulfillment of a professional dream. Next, I want to thank my amazing wife, Lauren, who is with me tonight. She has been here for every step of this journey. Through the ups and downs, she has remained my strongest supporter and source of encouragement. Finally, many OCPS educators have helped build my capacity as a savvy instructional leader. Principal Urdaneta, AP Gordon, and Dr. Villaverde at Hunters Creek Elementary provided strong mentorship and work to fill my educator toolbox. Principals Tracy and DeMars, APs Higgins, Brenzo, and Duncan, and Miss Neff at Arbor Ridge encouraged me to grow professionally, including recommending me for the inaugural OCPS UCF Ed Leadership Cohort. Principal Fox and AP Rosa at Lakemont Elementary invited me to lead a team of ESE educators and provided me with the support and autonomy to create initiatives that increase student achievement for our most fragile learners. At that time, I met Principal Leader Mindy Smith, who challenged me to pursue instructional leadership opportunities and greatly influenced my career trajectory. Dr. Maestre, APs Dories and Ciceri at Colonial High School taught me the value of collaborating with key stakeholders to fulfill our mission of creating enriching and diverse pathways for students. Principal Simmons, AP Prince, and Miss Chambers at Rock Lake Elementary always stressed the importance of systems and structures, database decision-making, and accountability, which are essential to transforming a school. These individuals have bolstered my leadership skills and provided me with the confidence to pursue this endeavor. I look forward to serving the Lovell community and ensuring our vision is realized, that every student has a promising and successful future. Thank you, and go Wildcats.
Constance Malanga is the new assistant principal at Azalea Park Elementary.
Thank you. First, I would just like to say thank you to Chair Jacobs and the board, Dr. Vasquez and Dr. Armbruster, for giving me this opportunity, and just very short and sweet. There's been two amazing leadership people in my past that those two specifically, there's been a lot of people I would love to thank, but there's just two in particular. Dr. Shane Silpy, who, if it wouldn't have been for him, I would never have taken the first step. He told me if I didn't, he was going to do it for me. It's a story I tell all the time. So he started my journey, and then Dr. Ashlyn Ramirez, who pretty much gave me my first acting AP position when our amazing AP went out on maternity leave, and I've just continued from there. My Rock Lake family that I've been acting at for 2.5 months, they have been wonderful. And to Miss Miller, my new principal leader, and Miss Verano, my principal leader who started my journey, just thank you to all of you for believing in me, and my new principal, Mr. Rosa, for bringing me on board and letting me see what I can do. Thank you.
Kelly Rogers is the new assistant principal from Castle View Elementary.
Thank you. Thank you so much to Dr. Vasquez, to School Board Chair Jones, and school board members. I'm honored to be selected as the new assistant principal at Castleview Elementary. I want to thank my family for their endless support through my career every step of the way. And a very special thank you to Dr. Rasmussen for your support and trust in me to take on this position. I look forward to serving the Castleview community with you. Thank you very much.
Julio Tejeda is the new assistant principal at Howard Middle School.
I'm sorry, time has got my eyes a little bad, so I had to take off my glasses. But I'd like to say good evening to everyone. I would like to first thank our school board members, Superintendent Dr. Vasquez, Deputy Superintendent, Dr. Armbruster, and Dr. Williams. Also our area leader, Ms. Gibson, and our executive leader, Dr. Fitzler. For this opportunity to serve as an assistant principal at Howard Middle School. I would also like to thank Principal Dr. McHale and Mrs. Brown. Dr. McHale and Mrs. Brown, I would like to take this opportunity to express my deepest gratitude and for your invaluable guidance and support throughout my journey. Your mentorship has been instrumental in shaping my career and helping me develop the skills and the confidence needed to succeed in educational leadership. Your dedication to excellence, unwavering commitment to students, and passion for education have been truly inspiring. You have not only been a mentor, but also a role model, demonstrating what it means to lead with integrity, compassion, and vision. I am profoundly grateful for the opportunities you have provided me, the wisdom you have shared, and the countless hours you have invested in my growth. Your belief in my potential has been a constant source of motivation. I am honored to have learned from such exceptional leaders. I would also like to take this moment to thank my family, whose unwavering support and encouragement have been instrumental in my journey. To my spouse, Siobhan, your understanding, patience, and belief in me have been my rock. To my children, thank you for your love and the joy you bring to my life every day. And to my mother, who's not here today, I would like to thank you for instilling me the values of hard work and the importance of education. Without your sacrifices and guidance, I would not be standing here today. Thank you once again for this incredible opportunity. I am eager to get started and to contribute to the continued success of Orange County Public Schools. Thank you.
April Victor is the new assistant principal at Camelot Elementary.
I have the best fans. Good evening. I would like to start by thanking the school board, Chair Jacobs, Vice Chair Gallo from District 1, Superintendent Vasquez, and Deputy Superintendent Armbruster for this opportunity to serve as assistant principal of Orange County Public Schools. I would also like to thank Executive Leader Dr. Jones, Principal Leader McClough, and Principal Gordon. I'm so excited to get to continue to work with you and serve the students of Camelot, the staff, and the community. Throughout my journey in OCPS, I have been blessed to work with two amazing school and work families. First, Chickasaw Elementary. I was there for 13 years. I worked with Principal Bethany Ledesma and Principal Janet Medina Maestre. And then I also was able to work with the Professional Learning Department. And so I'm so thankful for them for all that they have done and helped me with, Dr. Leanne Bradshaw, and especially my instructional development team who are here in my cheering section. And then I'm lucky to have two of my mentors here with me tonight, my former principal, Janet Medina Maestre, and my director, Claire Steele. Janet, I am so thankful that I got to work with you at Chickasaw. You continue to be my mentor and my role model, both professionally and personally. Your guidance, your leadership, and encouragement mean more to me than you will ever know. And to Claire, I am so grateful for our partnership and friendship that we have developed over the years, and I will always treasure all of those little leadership lessons that you threw into almost all of our conversations. And then, of course, I would not be able to be here without the support of my family and friends. So to my husband, Victor, who is not able to be here tonight, thank you for always believing in me and encouraging me. And to my sons, Jonathan and Matthew, they are my inspiration each and every day. Thank you.
Members of the board, that concludes our newly appointed administrators, but I would like to just make a few comments. First of all, welcome to the OCPS family of administrators. I do want to point out that typically the vast majority of the individuals being reappointed are from within OCPS, but tonight we are wrapping our arms around individuals who are joining the very best district in the state of Florida, from the school district of Osceola, from the school district of Brevard, and from Charter Schools USA. And so we are delighted that you have joined the OCPS family. I also want to take a moment and give a personal shout out to our incredible Chief of Staff and Deputy Superintendent who have worked tirelessly to make this happen. I cannot recall a time in the past 8 to 10 years where we've been able to have all of our administrators appointed prior to the start of the school year. And that is because of the work that they did to appoint our principals and then move directly into our assistant principals. So thank you very much. I know we're going to see a difference because now they will be there for pre-planning. They will be part of those wonderful opening day procedures. And another shout out to Rob Bixler because our vacancy rate is down to 125. This time last year it was over 300. And so we are grateful to the work. We are still working to ensure that every one of our vacancies are filled. But again, a tremendous team effort. Our school-based staff, principals, and our tremendous team in HR led by Rob Bixler who have made this happen. So thank you very much.
All right. Member Castellano? No, I'm kidding. We are at a point where you can talk.
I wanted to give a shout out to Dr. Vasquez and all of OCPS for the news that we haven't been able to share because we haven't had a meeting since then, but we are an A school district. Thank you. And that is a lot of work. Students have really performed. Teachers and staff have invested extra time, energy, sweat, tears, money, sleepless nights. So I appreciate all the work. And no matter what grade the state wants to give us, I'm always proud of this district. But it's nice to have some bragging rights. So congratulations to everybody.
Okay, we have a few more recognitions, but absolutely, let's do that. Thank you.
We gotta move over. We don't have everybody here.
Yes.
Yeah. No, you're going to see YouTube. I think up there with me with the school board. Look at him. He wants it in 11 by 14. He wanted us to it. That's right. Flip. Hey, how are you? Thank you. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll have her in the photo and then. Oh, hop in. We're gonna go backwards.
Okay.
Hop in. Right in the middle.
Yes, I know.
Actually, right. Come all the way up. Be special for a moment. Come on. Come on, we all want to go home. Bring your arm. Give me a ta-da. Good. Look amazing. Look toward me, and on 3, you can. That's all right. We know where you were. Good. Look toward me, and on 3. Good. 1, 2, and 3. Stay there. Happy. One more. Excellent. Oh, hold on. People love you. People can share iPhone photos. You guys get all my photos. Good, clear. Yes? Good. Good on photos.
Yes, we have one more individual that needs to be recognized. So if you please will not leave, I'd appreciate that.
That could be a fire issue.
So our final newly appointed administrator is Altrice Coleman, who's going to be the new assistant principal at Lockhart Middle School.
Thank you all so much. Sorry. Thank you, school board members, Superintendent Vasquez, Deputy Superintendent Armbruster, and staff for the opportunity to continue serving at Lockhart Middle School. I served there this past year as an instructional coach, and now I'm transitioning into the assistant principal position there. I also want to thank Dr. Fritzler and Dr. Bailey from the middle school K-8 office for their support. I want to thank my current principal, Clarence Truitt, my previous principals, Dr. Henderson, Ron Anderson, Karen Furno, and Valeria Maxwell for inspiring me to start my leadership journey. My mentors and other APs who guided me along the way, Dr. Angela Slaughter, Joy Lewis, Nick Turtarka, and others that had constantly poured into me and encouraged me, include my Chain of Lakes posse, my sisters in the Beta Xi chapter of NSPDK, my Meadowbrook sisters, and my Lockhart family. And last but not least, and most importantly, my family, my number one supporters, my husband Glenn and my son Christopher, my mother who also retired from Lockhart Middle School, who's no longer with me. She passed last year, but the fact that I continue to strive and stay at Lockhart Middle and pour into the Lancer community is a privilege, and I'm excited to continue on my journey at Lockhart Middle School.
Now we're good. Okay, I would also like to recognize Superintendent Dr. Vasquez and OCPS Communications Division for receiving awards from the National School Public Relations Association. Dr. Vasquez was one of the organization's 25 superintendents to watch for in 2023. Each year, NSPRA recognizes up to 25 superintendents as superintendents to watch. Honorees are school district leaders who have less than 5 years of experience as a superintendent and demonstrate dynamic leadership and strong communication. Congratulations to Dr. Vasquez, and thank you for being such a shining light to our students and staff. And also, the Public Relations Department, as you all know, is OCPS's strategic communications arm. The team is responsible for promoting the school district through district publications, through marketing, graphic design, social media, and more. Since 1935, the National School Public Relations Association has been providing school communications training and services to school leaders throughout the United States. NSPRA awarded OCPS the following awards, which you can see examples of on the screen. The received 5 awards for excellence are the 2023-24 Pocket Guide. We all love those. The 24-25 Magnet Schools and Programs Brochure. The Benefits Bulletin, the OCPS Stellar Customer Service Communication Guide, and the Orange Peel Employee Publication. The team also received an honorable mention for the 2024 Crystal Awards program. The public relations team was recognized during the 2024 NSPRA National Seminar in Bellevue, Washington, just a few weeks ago. The Media Relations Department tells our district's digital stories with The Slice, news from OCPS, and produces Dr. Vasquez's Mondays with Maria talk show on YouTube. Ensborough honored the staff with the 2024 Golden Achievement Award for increasing engagement through video stories and the superintendent's talk show. The Media Relations Department, which includes the Video Services team, also received Bronze Telly and Hometown Media Awards for the Mondays with Maria on the Road segment, highlighting National School Lunch Week. Congratulations to the Media and Public Relations Department, and thank you all for all you do to elevate OCPS's brand. I would say that you guys have taken everything. I don't know if anybody else in the nation got any awards, because you guys are doing phenomenal. And you have so much to work with Dr. Vasquez. So, and Mondays with Maria, that takes a lot of energy, a lot of guts, and it's really cool. Huh? Oh. Well, we do.
We really have an amazing team that are incredibly talented, creative, and have a passion for the work that they do. And I'm so thankful that you represent the wonderful people in OCPS and you tell our stories. So thank you, and we'd love to get a picture with everyone.
And before we move on, our Chief Communications Officer, Scott Howitt, you won't believe it, but he's not able to be here, and which is really, really sad, because all of these wonderful awards are due to his strong leadership. But he did want to extend his congratulations to Dr. Vasquez and the Media and Public Relations Department staff on winning these prestigious awards. And he couldn't be here today because he's presenting about the half-penny sales tax extension at a Apopka political hobnob and the straw poll. Thank you, Scott. So we miss you, but your efforts there are certainly appreciated. And video services staff members are working behind the scenes and live streaming our school board meeting on YouTube, so they cannot physically be present for the group photo. But when this meeting is over, I hope we're bringing them forward and getting one, right? All right, so we want to get everybody else in the photo right now. Who does this go to? Dr. Maria? Here, get in the middle. There's our team. Yay! Oh, that's awesome. Get him in the picture, did you? Ah, that's cool.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
Slide down a little bit more. There we go. Good. Everybody hold your... Not yet.
Such a draw.
Good. Hold on. Stay there. Look happy. And on three. Hold on. One more. 1, 2, and 3.
You're going to get a solo.
Perfect. And the superintendent that got that beautiful award, do you mind coming down? Come on to the front. I know you love it. Feel free to stand next to your favorite video first.
Here it is, here it is, here it is. God, we have 2 more.
Not today. Good. Good. Big smile again. Hold on, look happy. Good. 1, 2, and 3. Perfect. Good. Everybody else? Good.
All right, we're not done. So we still have 2 awards, so everybody hold your, I really won't lock the door, but just hold on for just a couple more minutes. So I wanted to also recognize an OCPS staff member and district partner who both received the 2024 Excellence in Education Awards from the Pineapple Report, a Florida education news source. The accolades were presented in June at the Rusty Pelican restaurant in Tampa. The first honoree is Chief Financial Officer Doreen Coccolino, who received the Fiscal Management Award. Coccolino. She received the Fiscal Management Award for demonstrating exceptional financial judgment and skillfully managing OCPS's budget while ensuring the well-being of our employees. Under her leadership, OCPS has maintained fiscal stability, provided historic salary raises, and secured top ratings. Congratulations. And we'll do a picture in just a minute. The second honoree is somebody we all know and love, Chief Executive Officer of the Orlando Regional Realtors Association, Cliff Long. Cliff was presented with the Corporate Partnership Award, and boy, does anybody ever earn it. The honor is the result of the Realtors Association ongoing support under the strong leadership of Cliff Long. The taxpayer initiatives such as the half-penny sales tax wouldn't be successful if it wasn't your support and the support of your organization. The organization is also the title sponsor for the Top Talent Competition organized by the Foundation for OCPS. The Realtors Association has also had a representative on the foundation board for the past 7 years. Cliff, we are so grateful for your leadership, your unwavering support, and I personally am so thankful for your friendship and the joy that you bring to all of us. Can we get you guys up here for a picture? And I love Rusty Pelican.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you for your
Good job.
Yes.
Come on up.
Yeah. Yeah, wonderful. Wonderful. Whew, that's awesome.
Okay.
Ta-da!
Award winners. Yay! Sorry. Yay! Great job.
Thank you so much. That is so awesome.
When is it again? October 18th.
We're okay.
I need to write it down.
We're good. It's early still. Still early. I'm going to make a call to Disney. Why? Yeah, exactly. And Univac will work on that. Okay. Absolutely. Yes, leading the way. All right. We have, and if we can take a moment, I started the meeting by mentioning the loss of Bert Carrier. I can't imagine the loss his family is feeling, but we here at OCPS certainly appreciate his incredible service. I wanted to ask our district board member, Member Byrd, if she would read a proclamation from the board on our behalf.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Thank you, Chair, for giving me this opportunity. Before I read the resolution, I did also want to read something that Commissioner Christine Moore, who was my predecessor here in the seat, she sent over today. She's not able to be here because she's in her own board meeting, but she definitely wanted to speak about Bert, so I'm going to just read what she sent me. Bert Carrier was a respected, honored, and revered school board chair and member, and to me, neighbor. Bert's family and mine grew up together in Apopka on the same street for the past 30 years. Bert was a champion of the school building program, which OCPS took on many years ago, and because of him and his leadership, we have many of the beautiful, equitable schools we do today. He always waved and smiled at my children when they played in our neighborhood, and more recently, my grandchildren. I will miss him greatly, as will everyone in our community. He was a true servant leader, and I'm honored to be able to share this with all of you. Whereas Bert Carrier was born in Bogalusa, I believe I said that right, Louisiana, on May 12, 1951, and whereas he was a longtime resident of Apopka, Florida, and whereas Bert proudly served as District 7 board member from 1992 to 2004, and whereas he also served as the chairman of the school board of Orange County from 1997 to 2000, and whereas during Bert's professional career he held several positions showcasing his diverse skill set and unwavering commitment, including as an investigator with the Washington Parish Sheriff's Office in Franklinton, Louisiana, Vice President of Sales at S.G. Johnson, Director of the Florida Hospital Foundation in Apopka, and a radio DJ. And whereas he had a zest for life and enjoyed various hobbies, including golfing, traveling, and passionately rooting for the Louisiana State University Tigers in football, and whereas the Apopka and OCPS communities mourn the loss of Bert Carrier, who passed away on July 21st, 2024, now therefore the School Board of Orange County, Florida does hereby acknowledge and declare that Bert Carrier will remain a much-loved champion of education and resident of School Board District 7 who touched many lives and left a legacy of love and faithfulness that will continue for generations to come. Adopted by the School Board of Orange County, Florida in Orlando, Florida on this 30th day of July, 2024. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, I think we have completed all the business, all the recognitions. Let me turn to our superintendent to see if you have a report for the board.
No, Madam Chair. I'll save any of the comments for our next board meeting.
Yeah, when we have a few more people at the dais. Mr. Pomerini.
I felt like tonight was hazing, but I have no report.
That's funny. Board members, do any of the board members have anything of a policy nature that you want to bring forward at a future meeting? Okay. All right. Well, this is the first meeting that we've ever had where this wonderful script that staff prepares for me has been completely taken apart, and we did everything in reverse order. Everything in reverse order. So, anybody could have done it better. But thank you all for bearing with us today and getting through this. And again, I can't express enough how much I appreciate Member Gould staying around in spite of how she was feeling. Really amazing commitment. Mr. Pomerini.
I forgot to mention this, but I think it's worth mentioning. For those of us who live in Apopka, John Ricketson, the owner of the Apopka Chief. I worked at the Apopka Chief when it was John Ricketson as the owner and John Peary as the editor and John Pomerini as the reporter. So there was a lot of Johns going around.
Yeah.
John Ricketson, like John Peary, the most decent, kind human being you could think of. And he was a conservative guy, but he supported this school district passionately. Every time we asked for a tax referendum, the Apopka Chief editorialized in favor of it because his commitment to the Apopka area schools was that strong. So I'm going to miss, again, my friend, and he was just a kind and generous soul, and I wanted to make sure we said something about him here today.
I can't say more than that. He was, God, what a loving soul. Yeah. And he didn't just support OCPS. He supported Orange County. He was a friend. He might have been conservative. I'm not super conservative, as you all know, but he supported me every step of the way. Every step of the way. And, I mean, Apopka Chief will never quite be the same without the three Johns. So anyway, thank you for reminding me as much as it makes me sad to remember. Member Bird.
Yeah, I thank John so much for mentioning it. It's definitely difficult. and I'll share what I shared in I write a column for the chief every week, which, is because of John Palmerini. I mean, not Palmerini, Perry. They believed so passionately about the community knowing what's happening in the schools, so they offer a column every week to the school board members. So I do that, and I said in my column this week, one of the things about John Ricketson that I'm going to miss most is just his ability to make you feel like you are the most important person in the room when he's talking to you.
Yes.
He would cross a room to come see you, and then he would give you just the biggest hug and strongest hug. I mean, sometimes it was like it almost hurt, right? The best hug, and he just always had that smile, sweet smile on his face.
And I thought it was only for me.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
That's how he made you feel.
He made
though.
everybody feel that way. Like you were just so special, and he just loved talking to you. He was always asking you how you were doing, and I'm really going to miss that, as I know everyone will in our community. He is a big, big loss for the Apopka community, and for all of us. So
I think of Apopka, and I think of John Land.
Yeah.
I think of John. I mean, just how much incredible history they made, and we've lost, but we had. All right, meeting is now adjourned.